All right, Trace. All right, you gonna put your screen up? Oh, I got you. You're on mute still.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you really well.
Great.
So go ahead and get it going, and I will introduce us and take us through like the housekeeping. So everybody, this is Tracey Friend. She is the SVP of Talent Solutions at Agile One, and like Jackie just said, she's going to be building a pipeline of talent that matches your post-COVID-19 messaging, which is all of us are going to be facing and are probably facing, some of us right now. Move it one more slide forward.
Oops,
And so for those who are, oh, you're fine. For those who are just joining, obviously some housekeeping stuff, listen only. Again, ask questions. Tracey will be here for the next 40 minutes or so, and you'll have time to put questions in there, and she'll make sure she has time afterwards. And of course, we'll share her content with you. So Tracey, enjoy yourself, have fun, and I will be back in a few minutes.
Great. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Fabulous. Okay, so my topic is, it's so nice because Jackie teed it up perfectly, and she also talked about a lot of things that I'm going to talk about. But the point of this is that we are in different times, right? So as we go through, I want to start with a quote because you have no idea what people are dealing with in their personal lives. So just be nice. It's that simple. And it's funny because Jackie even shared that people are jumping at folks and they're really on edge. And as recruiters, we're on the front line. And being on the front line, it's just about being simple and acknowledging that. So my presentation is really going to talk through some of the emotional factors right now that we have to take into consideration as we go through and we want to continue to build relationships with the talent that we've spent so much time collecting and cultivating and curating. The next one is about monitoring your social responses. Additionally, it's monitoring the process. So, it's funny, while I was listening, I got an email and one of our vice presidents had sent me a note and she said, Tracey, my hiring plans, because I happen to be in the RPO, so we have lots of clients across across the world. But she said some of our clients who have hiring plans can't find talent, or talent are just dropping out of the process. So we're going to talk a little bit about this because this is super critical. And then finally, just some marketing tips. What's nice is you heard Allison, you heard Rachel. Oh my gosh, download what they say, embrace it. What you're going to see is I'm going to reinforce it. So I want to give a real snapshot of what people are going through. And for those who know me, my other half is an airline pilot, and he happens to be going through, the airline industry is going through a ton right now. And what's tough is that there's real stress in that whole industry. And this is in a group that I happen to belong to. And this is from a spouse that is complaining about her husband. And I laugh, and you're probably wondering, why the heck are you showing this to me? Why I'm showing it to you is because as they interview, they are experiencing this at home. And Jackie brought it up before, kids at home, stress of another spouse or partner's job loss, those are real. So as they go through the interview process, seeing that is super critical. Okay, now I'm frozen, which is always really fun. So bear with me. The other thing that we've been experiencing are candidates that accept a job or are getting ready to come interview, and say you are doing on-site interviews, and now they're scared because they've tested positive or they've come down with COVID-19. They're scared, they're stressed, and now they have to communicate this to you. And again, Tim said it beautifully. we're in new times. We're having conversations that we never thought we would be having, but these are real emotional factors, and these emotional factors do impact not only the candidates that you're interviewing today, but the candidates that they refer or they talk to about their personal experience. So that list truly goes on. There's hiring freezes, furloughs. The virtual schooling is a huge one. In fact, candidates are asking questions. My kids are going to be home. What happens? Is that going to be a problem? And it's a real conversation internally that companies are having. One of our clients has put together a beautiful FAQ and a hiring manager training on working from home. And it's funny because they even address what happens when your kid shows up behind you and they come in and they're like, look mom, or look dad. And those things, how do you address that in a work environment? And they gave a really good example. They said, introduce your child and then say thank you and excuse them. But frankly, this is where yourself gets challenged. Before that, I know personally, I had a hard time with that. And that's something that I had to put in check as a leader. I lead a large organization and I have a lot of folks with kids. And it's something that this environment is forcing me to really think about what does that and how does that impact me, but also have the conversation with my team, thoughtfully understand how my organization's approaching it, but then being able to communicate it to the candidates that I'm touching or to the people that I want to recruit as I might be coming off of a hiring freeze or as our hiring picks up. We talked, you heard Jackie talk a little bit about the whole, Black Lives Matter. There are a lot of social things going on right now. There is a site called marketingdive.com, and the other one is customerthink.com. So Marketing Dive actually put out some content where big brands are taking very risky moves and around Black Lives Matter, around the LGBTQ movement, around equality, and they're tying it into their advertising. And what that article spoke about, and I encourage you all to just take a look, it's Marketing Dive. It's a great site, and it's really on point because what we're having to do as employment marketing leaders is marry your consumer message with your talent acquisition message. And when the two of those don't align, you lose candidates in the process, your talent pipeline fractures, and you lose employees on the back end. The other thing that's important is drug usage is on the rise. And in fact, there is quite a bit of data out in the market right now, especially around drug usage and suicide. And I say that because with Ban the Box and with candidates that we are keeping warm in our pipeline, what we're also seeing is the increase in background and drug tests. So while this COVID experience and having people be at home, it's also prompting other issues. And as a recruitment, as recruitment professionals, you are measured on, well, how many hires did you get? What do those numbers look like going through the process? So these are things we can't ask up front, and we have to wait until an offer has been made. And these are the things that we're having to adjust in how we recruit. What used to take 3 to 5 candidates in some types of populations now are taking 8 or 10, and that's what we're seeing. So in essence, we're dealing more with real people and real lives. And recruiters, you completely are on the front line. And your candidate pipeline is impacted by those challenges. And I just chuckled by the last presentation about the masks. Yes, the masks are here. And people, I have a neighbor right now that says, no way, I am not wearing a mask. And he is adamant that he will not wear a mask. And there is a division of thought. There's a division of thought around this whole issue. And we have to be aware of it, and we have to be aware of our company's stance. So where do you start? You know, it's interesting. There were some great questions in Allison and Rachel's presentation about, so where do you start? What's real? I don't know what to say. And there was a great article that talked about the 5 essentials. And I'm reinforcing some of the things that you've already heard, but maybe in a different way. So maybe you'll hear this a little bit differently. The first one is safety. So there is actually a site that is out there. If any of you work in manufacturing, there are sites out there that are listing plant closures or where COVID has impacted your plant. And those sites are really important for you to know. Put them in, put alerts in place so you know what's being published, because while your site may have had an outbreak of COVID, it's what your organization doing to feel safe. And one of the companies that I work with is doing something completely wonderful. One of the things that they did is they HR and talent acquisition and the safety officer came together, and they put together a slide deck of real people and real lives and put together a really nice hashtag campaign, had employees welcoming employees as they came into the work environment, as they came into the parking lot, really making people feel belong, as if there's a sense of belonging. And that's the second of the 5 essentials. And that is, you belong here. We're going to keep you safe. And here's what we're doing. The third one is the focus. And the focus is around, yes, we are in unprecedented times. And for some organizations, they're seeing explosive growth, and other organizations, they're laying people off. If you look at the cruise industry, if you look at the airline industry, all of these, people, and the people that work within those industries or work in part of their lives have been really impacted. So the concept of focus and how to get through this and making progress, and finally an installation of hope, are the 5 essentials. And these are the things that when building a talent pipeline, this may be relevant now, and it may be relevant through the remainder of the year, but how we respond to this, and Tim, you said it, you asked the question early on, do you believe that what companies do today will impact how talent looks at an organization, or how people look at an organization? I honestly believe yes. I think that's going to make a big difference. So to give this in a really nice, succinct summary, it's been a trigger for rethinking a lot about how we design a candidate experience, and it's also impacting how we tell stories. So there's some great bullets here. First is around, how do you make employees feel safe, physically, emotionally, financially? There was, I'm going to switch to something real quick, if you don't mind. Can you see this all, the employee updates? And I'll send this out, but this was a COVID resource list, but I thought this was pretty darn cool, because it gives you some insight on how companies are responding. Trader Joe's gives employees additional sick time to ensure that they stay at home when sick. Or Microsoft will continue to pay all vendors, hourly service providers, regardless of use of KOI. Or Expedia will continue to pay hourly workers normal wages. I've had clients who, on our managed services side, have paid and continue to pay their contingent workers because they're so valued to them. All of these little pieces are valuable as recruiters. They're valuable to your talent pipeline, because going back to the content of the 5 essentials, and I'll bring this back up here, but it's that whole concept of how do you make people feel like they're going to be safe, and physically, emotionally, financially, those are real things. What's done to ensure belonging and connections? There was a great survey that you just saw, and the connections, feeling connected. We've started doing virtual, I'll call it virtual happy hours, and our head of operations, she's fabulous. She does meet your pet and plant. So you have to bring your favorite plant and your favorite pet, and it's really inspired to just get your mind off of what's going on and to build relationships with your team, because we all need to feel that connectivity. What leadership practices to bring more clarity and precise top priority, right? So if you look at this, the leadership practices, what your leaders are doing, so listen to your leaders when they're talking about how we're taking the company forward. Take those little snippets and think about how you can apply that to recruiting. If you're working with professionals who are in sales or in marketing or in senior level roles, those tidbits matter. So you heard from Allison and Rachel about segment marketing and building out content. That content is real. It's real, it's transparent. And if it's not in a great place, it's also a way to really talk through, okay, this has not been something that we're addressing in this light, and here's where there's an opportunity and why we're bringing you on board. So there are different ways to present in a very transparent way how your company is doing, good or bad. What's done to keep up with employee growth? You know, it's interesting. My best friend works for Microsoft, and she's been working from home now, like all of us, for a long time. And one of the things that her leadership did was they gave them all access to Masterclass. And she thought that was the coolest thing. Well, of course, my daughter thought that was the greatest thing, and my daughter got a membership to Masterclass. So when you look at employee growth, it doesn't always mean growing somebody in their position. It's about growing their mind, expanding their experience, and what you can do. From a talent pipeline perspective, all of these tidbits are valuable pieces of content that, when relevant and when appropriate, can have a great impact. So some other tips on addressing the 5 essentials with your talent pipeline. So directly add a section on your career site related to interviewing during COVID-19, and make sure your pipeline of talent is aware of this. So some of you said, I don't know how to do this. And in this presentation, I've given you, and I'm going to go through some sample sites that have done this and are standout and have been mentioned in some great publications as of recent. Another thing is, if you do have work from home job postings or the career site, work from home job postings, add hashtag work from home or hashtag WFH. I don't know if any of you use Indeed. We partner tremendously. I love my Indeed reps because they do give me data, and they've shared that that hashtag is what candidates are searching on. That is also something that may inspire your pipeline. If it's not work from home, that's okay. That's fine. But if you do have work from home, that may inspire a population that does have the need to stay at home right now. Know your organization's stance on diversity and Black Lives Matter and diversity. I could tell that I'm really passionate about it. You know, it's interesting. While you have COVID, you also have social and people issues. And Jackie talked about when your personal brand doesn't align with your corporate brand. This is where this is one of the hardest times, and knowing your company's position and how that personally impacts you, those are discussions that are great to have with yourself and your plants. And I say that tongue in cheek, but they're real solid discussions, because it's keeping yourself in check as to how you answer the questions and how you work with your candidates in a very authentic way. Also, as talent leaders, preparing speaking points or FAQs that align with corporate marketing. So again, I'm huge into alignment, keeping messages aligned, keeping that experience aligned as much as possible. This is where maybe, and I've been doing this for a long time now, and there were times where you go bang on corporate marketing's door and they would say, who are you? Why does talent acquisition need marketing? What I'm finding now is that resistance is not as great as what it used to be. And there's an opportunity to really align and leverage capabilities across the organization, especially as organizations have been shrunken or people have been let go. This work may already be done, and it may all just matter of being tweaked for recruitment purposes or for communication purposes to your talent communities. Keeping it real, so being transparent. Right now, people can read right through anyone who's not transparent, and it shows. I mean, we see it if you look on your Facebook, and I've really gotten tired of going on my Facebook because people are very transparent, but they're also, there's a risk with that, right? With having a voice about who you are and what you stand for in your corporate environment. If your company does not match, I agree with the presentation earlier. Then you have to examine, is that the right company for you? Keep in tune with your organization's stance against Stop Hate for Profit. I don't know if any of you participated in this, where their corporate marketing said, hey, we're not going to recruit or do anything on Facebook for the month of June. And we're probably going to see other initiatives like this. This alignment is super important, because I don't know about you, but I have found over the last few months, there's been an exponential growth in job groups, in local communities, in local industries, all across Facebook. And this has been also a forum for you to listen about what people are saying about their experience in your organization. You heard the word segment, and segment message to your talents. If you don't have a CRM, because CRM helps with market segmentation, we're big Smartsheet users in my group, and sometimes we use Smartsheets for a lot of things, but this can help you really segment your talent pipeline, and it can help with some automation. There's a lot of functionality in that tool. It's very inexpensive. So if you're having to do something on the cheap, that's probably one of our favorite tools to just help keep things organized and also help to build out those content strategies. So what you see here is just, if you look at that picture, that's a real ad or a real notice that's online right now, and there's hundreds of them of plants that are being closed and when they're being opened and what's happening. Again, if you work for a manufacturing company, this is really important to keep abreast of what people are saying about your plants, because this will impact your candidate throughput. It will impact how many candidates apply and how you message and what you have to do to message appropriately and partner with various stakeholders, HR, the lines of business, legal, compliance, safety, things that this is a huge opportunity. I'm looking at this while people might go, oh my gosh, It's as stressful as can be. This is a huge opportunity for you to work with people that you may not have had the opportunity to work so closely with. So while this could be stressful, please look at this as an opportunity to learn from others and to experience how to solve a challenge, a true business challenge, because it does impact the people that work in your environment and the people who are thinking about working in your environment. Create candidate-facing content that looks at safety in a healthy workplace. This is where real images matter. And a hashtag campaign that's easily identifiable has a great impact. Again, how do you make this stand out? There was some articles on Customer Think, and it's called Customer Think, and it's a really good website to the acquisition of customers. One of my directors sent it over to me, and one of the articles was really talking about how do you take these 5 principles and how do you put them in real life stories. And there's more and more people that are reacting to real people and real content. And those are the types of, again, going back to content, that content strategy that matters right now. And it's relevant because it does have implications going forward. Providing coaching to hiring managers on how to conduct a virtual interview. So you might think, gosh, that should not be simple, but it's amazing how many managers do not know how to turn on their camera or turn on their volume, or may get frustrated because candidates have their kids coming in. So some of this coaching during this period of time and that experience, again, matters. People talk, social's real, people share their experience. The other one is college pipelines. For those of you who are doing college recruitment, I was on in a Facebook group where they were talking about planning and impact to college recruiting and how it's very last minute. Yeah, it's last minute right now because everyone's trying to figure out what to do. College students are going, gosh, will there be internships? Are you even going to hire me? So brand ambassadors, social media, what you can do to message. And if you don't know, it's okay to not know. It's okay to say, we will be providing you more information. In fact, we may even do a virtual webinar. So think about how you want to communicate or keep that candidate population or that talent pool growing and also inspired in who you are as an organization. So the next section is really talking about how, again, focusing on the whole communication. And as I promised, I'm going to give you examples of companies that are really doing great jobs. So Dick's Sporting Goods furloughed a large amount of their employees. In fact, my understanding is that they've ceased most of their recruiting. And if you look at their site, they have quite a bit of video and they have quite a bit of messaging, but their messaging is warm to say, be the first to know when new opportunities is posted. And even though we're hiring right now, you're important, and stay informed because we will start hiring again. So take a look at Dick's Sporting Goods. The next one is Humana. So you know, it's funny, Humana is hiring because they are a healthcare company and they are leveraging some of the things that they've done culturally. So culture makes a huge impact. That's the other piece that's really important right now that nobody's talking about is culture. And candidates want to know, and candidates want to know how your culture is responding to both the employees and how they're treating candidates in this process. Humana is doing a nice job because when they go to the career site, there's really some great messaging that said, we've recognized the need to go virtual a long time ago. Again, this may not fit for your organization, it may, but I'm always good about give me examples because people are visual and they want to see some great examples. The next one is Microsoft. So, you know, Microsoft is planning on staying out of their offices for a really, really long time. And on their career site, they've done a really nice job. at saying, look, we're virtual until further notice, but we're going to prepare you for our virtual interview process. And again, these are great examples. So for those of you in that survey that said we don't know how to deploy it, it's okay to look at these best practices and really look at what makes a difference. And I'm going to read to you, before I go to the next page, how one of our recruiters really just had an impact recently with a candidate. She got a note that said, "Hi, Patty, thank you so much. I wanted to say thank you again on how impressive it is every time that we've talked regarding a possible position with X company. I really appreciate how personable you are and sincere about trying to help me find the right position. I'm touched that you took the time to reach out to congratulate me on my new job offer with another company. You certainly go above and beyond by adding a personal touch. Hopefully our paths will cross again in the future with another position. I'll be sure to refer people along." That is golden. And that, when I saw this note, those are how we apply it. And it's the human element that is making the large impact. So the next page is a sample email. So back in June, BD is a wonderful program and went on a hiring freeze. And there was a lot of great work around how do you cascade to your team and to candidates in the process. And again, you know, for many of you who want examples, we know job searching can be challenging even in the best of times, and that pursuing a new career opportunity is already a big decision without the additional uncertainty that COVID-19 brings. At the moment, we want to let you know that we are experiencing a temporary hiring pause. However, we're here to support you every step of the way and hope you'll still consider joining the BD team once things begin to normalize. I will tell you, this has gone out and this was leveraged to, you know, different candidate pools. The recruiters got an opportunity to adjust this letter. Well, hiring is going gangbusters, and I will share with you that candidates have been saying thank you. Thank you for just being transparent and being thoughtful about this, because right now all of our emotions are high. So this is a lot of content that I'm going to share over the next few slides. I apologize, but there's so many good little tidbits, and I want to make sure that when you leave today, you have all these fabulous tidbits. So again, you know, my jobs are on the front line. This is a healthcare company. I'll send this deck out, but this is a healthcare company that had to hire nurses, and there was a whole context. The video was about being on the front line. And as you can see, these are the metrics. So when we talk about metrics, these are the things that really begin to matter. And I'll share this link so you have it. Indeed put out some great content for candidate interview communications. Again, what's beautiful, guys, is you don't have to recreate the world. You really just have to understand what it is you want to be able to communicate and when. So for those that are looking at interview process, they've put out some sample language. It's so easy for people to just take this and make it their own, right? And just add some content that will personalize it. I'm a big believer in that, and that's why if you look, there's quite a bit of information out there that can make your content strategy that much richer. So monitoring social media, this is really important because one of the things you heard is the importance of adding COVID messaging to your Indeed profile, your Glassdoor profile, your LinkedIn, and other social profiles. Add content around what you're doing, how you're doing virtual interviews. It's important candidates are going there. Add COVID messaging to key job descriptions. Again, if they're working on site during this period of time, go back to those 5 elements and really look at how are you going to address those 5 elements. And then monitor social media feedback regarding interviewing. So I love Sprout Social, and I've been playing with another tool called Awario. They both give you free trials. So it's cool because you can put some keywords in and they send emails to you, but you can really begin to see what people are saying about your organization, good and bad. And what's nice is I spoke with someone and they're using this strategy to add the content that's real and thoughtful to and pushing it to their career site during this time. But they're also using it to respond to candidates that are having, or to people that may not be having a favorable experience at this time as well. So these are two great tools. They work a little bit differently. They help also post and push out content. So if you want to have a little bit of automation to your social platforms, this is a great way. Some of our recruitment marketing folks also use some other platforms, but again, there's quite a few out there that are low dollar or free. So how does social listening help? As you listen and you hear, you might find some new social channels. You might find some things that you didn't even know and come across a link to employee or people who've been furloughed that are ready to find a job. Think about what kind of message you can send to them and be thoughtful, especially if they're people that you would eventually like to hire. It also is protecting your company brand, but it also allows you to find and connect with influencers. You heard that earlier today, where influencers matter, and there's internal influencers and there's external influencers. Internal influencers are people that really are strong proponents or brand ambassadors or doing some really cool things. So if you're you're recruiting engineers, they want to know, what are you doing and how are you inspiring and innovating during this period of time? Connecting with those influencers and letting them know can have a big impact in your social strategy. So ways to apply this, again, this is a little lengthy, but please bear with me because I think it's good content. First, know your policy, know your social media policy. And this is about supporting your company's online reputation. Your company probably puts out some great content. Look at YouTube, look at their Facebook, look at your Instagram, look at your company website. Even the financial, one of the things that's really cool is if you go under social responsibility, if your company has a social responsibility section, print off the social responsibility report. There are some fabulous little tidbits you do not have to recreate, but your company's probably doing some cool things that you may only know of based upon what employees tell you, but there might be some really good things that are listed in that social responsibility report that may be of value to candidates in your talent pipeline and candidates that you're trying to recruit. Add mentions to your career site. We talked a little bit about this. Here's something fun that we did. I'm in the RPO space. We've had to furlough talent. We're bringing them back, which I'm super excited. But we created a private Facebook group that serves as a source of job leads and inspiration. Because for me, I want to get recruiters back to work. And during this time, we look at our team as a family, and being inspirational and doing things that keep people motivated is what we did as employees, as teams. And just because they're not there anymore, it doesn't mean we stop. It means we continue. Align external messaging with internal employee messaging. So this one, again, Jackie talked about when that messaging is broken. This one's a big one. And this is where your pipeline will break down very quickly if your external message and your internal message don't align, or your external message and your employee experience don't align. Here's where, as recruiters, you have 20, 30 recs, and you're thinking about, how do I respond to each individual? Think about the internal employee messaging and what that means to the groups that you support and represent. Communicate to your team and HR partners and around feedback, success, challenges. This is the time we have to be transparent with our stakeholders. I'm finding that candidates are dropping out in places that I never saw them drop out. I'm seeing them drop out from when the recruiter interviews to when the hiring manager gets ready to interview, because candidates are backing out because they don't feel comfortable taking a job at this time because of family or something that's going on. Join the Facebook local groups. If there's anything you do, go in, search groups on your Facebook. If you recruit locally, look at the local. If you recruit for skills, look at those skills and type in jobs. If you look and recruit in multiple places, look at those groups as well. Become part of them. Monitor and use the Awario or Sprout Social to hear what people are saying about your organization, even after you communicate and put some things out on there and share jobs or job search tips, because we are all recruitment professionals. And this is what I think is pretty cool, is that I'm seeing more of us share job leads with each other and share referrals than I've ever seen before. So keep it going. This is really cool. And it's bringing out some of the better things in people. So as we go through the real love, again, you know, we talk about a lot of things you can do, but I want to just give you another sample letter. This is about people finding solutions and partnering and communicating frequently. Sometimes it's as simple as that, and it's being aware. So you too can get these real love letters from your business by just not having to apply everything that we've shared with you, but taking away some of the things that emotionally matter right now. So as we go through attracting talent and being authentic, I love it. We've all recommended some of the same tools throughout our presentations. I'll add a couple. Promo is another favorite. Animoto. I am a big Animoto fan. I even use it for my personal side. And another one is Be Free. That is customized email templates. Again, if you're emailing someone and you want something to splash or stand out, this is a pretty neat tool, and our marketing team is loving it. So they find all these little tidbits, so I'm going to share them along the way. And again, you know, just some tidbits along the way. Keep content relevant, right? Content relevant for each stage of the process. And the more you and your team can talk about this and provide frequently asked questions and to have standard answers, you know, you don't want it to be so robotic, but you want it to be something that's authentic, but be able to answer some of these core questions. So, you know, don't hide if you have a negative reputation, don't hide from it, but really talk with your peers. This is a collaboration opportunity to jump on Zoom or jump on GoToMeeting and to really talk about, okay, our reputation is really horrible here. How do we want to address it? How should we address it? What should we do? Put a thoughtful plan in place. Begin to execute. What do you say? How do you address it? These are real-time things that impact your candidates, and they impact your future candidates going forward. So the other one is empathy, and empathy is a big one. I think there's going to be other presentations that talk a lot about it. If a candidate's not ready to come to work, you know, it used to be when candidates would flake on us, we would just get annoyed and we would say, I don't want to talk to them. But a little bit more empathy and communicating and staying in touch and having honest conversation really may keep your talent pipeline rich, because the people that you would normally, you know, it would normally make you really mad as a recruiter, absolutely piss you off. Maybe just a little bit of understanding in this time may allow you to not only keep your talent pipeline strong, but build a stronger talent pipeline. So I love to give, you know, I love to find examples. Intuit has done a really nice video. Video interviewing is really hard, so make it easy. If you go onto LinkedIn, Intuit has some sample videos. So if you're looking at ways that you can make it better, again, I'm a big proponent in seeing what other people are doing, and really check yourself and see, does it matter to me? Is this, as a candidate, if I was a candidate, would this matter? Is it speaking to me? Is it speaking to the thing that matters to me at this moment in time? Prep the candidate and the hiring manager and make sure that they know how to work the technology, but also make sure that they know that these videos exist, right? And communicate to your talent network these video interviewing best practices, because remember, your talent network, not everybody is going to wind up coming to work for you. But if you send out really helpful hints and really helpful tips on how to get a job, people value that right now, or even referring other jobs as well, because people do, at this point in time, it's about basic, Maslow hierarchy of needs. They've got to feed their family. At the offer, here's something super fun. Again, understand why candidates are rejecting the offer. I'm seeing a lot more right now of candidates not showing up or candidates turning down offers, again, because of where the job is located, or if they can come work from home, or if it's work on site. So these are things that matter. So know your rejection rate and why, and begin to track this. Those that are coming on board, it's personal. So, we talked a little bit about Canva and some other tools. Give your manager a really fun image or something and write it up for him, just to say, hey, welcome that person, and text them with a fun image about who we are, and just do something different with a welcome message. The other one is creating a branded I accepted image with the company logo that your new hire can share on the social media. I think right now social is something that people are really looking to. It's something that everyone's sitting at home in their pajamas, so they're going online and they're chatting with their friends. So being able to communicate that someone has accepted a job, and then being able to talk about that experience and promote it, builds your talent pipeline in the future. So onboarding. Again, onboarding is a whole different world now. So remember, video, video, video. And there's some great things now that we can do to create content that supports welcome to the organization. But remember, growth, diversity, networking are value principles, and feeling belonging and making a contribution are super important. So addressing that during your onboarding experience is critical. So that human element is going to go viral, and it's going to matter. And believe it or not, it's also an opportunity to gain referrals and build that talent pipeline. So that takes me to the end of this presentation. And if you want to reach out and contact me, I'm always available. And if you do Skype, I'm Tracey.friend, Tracey.friend, so you can always Skype me. I do have a lot of different resources that I've used that I keep on tapping into. What I find is they're not recruiting resources, they're for marketers. And it's built around consumer marketing, and it's built around customer marketing, because that world is paying very close attention to the emotional aspects of people during this time. And they're putting forth some really good thought in white papers. Again, if you're looking at two, Marketing Dive and customerthink.com is just two great sites that have really good content. I'll answer any questions if you have.
All right, Tracey, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you really well. So it's coming out just now. So anyways, but I want to appreciate everything, because it was just the last piece there I couldn't hear you. So
Okay.
Great job. And for those that can get a hold of Tracey, you can see that right there. Thank you so much. We're running a little behind, so we're going to bring Abby in, and we'll get started with the demo with Skill Scout. Thanks, Tracey.